Today, we're going to dig into something pretty cool. We're looking at a source that uses the life of this absolutely incredible athlete to help answer a question about faith that, trips a lot of people up. We're going to see how one woman's journey to Olympic gold can actually make a deep spiritual idea make a whole lot more sense. Okay, so here's the central puzzle. When you hear people talk about being a Christian, it can be really confusing, right? Because you basically hear two completely opposite things. Is it supposed to be this simple, effortless gift? Or is it one of the hardest things you could ever possibly do? And here are those two ideas right next to each other. On one side, you have this idea that it's super easy. You just accept Jesus, you're saved, and hey, God does all the heavy lifting. But then, on the other side, you hear that it's incredibly hard with all these rules and expectations you have to live up to. So, which one is it? Well, to get to the bottom of this, the source material does something really smart. It doesn't just throw a bunch of theology at us. Instead, it tells us a story about a real person, an amazing woman named Wilma Rudolph. And believe it or not, her story holds the key. This is where the story gets really wild. See, Wilma's journey didn't start with some big dream. It started with what sounded like a life sentence. She was up against odds that, honestly, most of us would think are just impossible to beat. I mean, can you even imagine being a parent and hearing a doctor say that? Your daughter will never walk again? That wasn't just some casual opinion, it was a diagnosis. After she got polio as a little girl, this was supposed to be her reality. This was her starting line. And this picture, wow, it just shows you what she was up against every single day. Her left leg was twisted and weak, and that heavy metal brace she had to wear, that was her childhood. It was a constant, physical reminder of what the world told her she couldn't do. But look at this progression. It's just incredible. At age 4, she gets that devastating diagnosis. She spends her childhood in that brace. But then, at 12 years old, a breakthrough. She walks all by herself for the very first time. And she doesn't stop there. No way. As a teenager, she decides she wants to be a world-class athlete. I mean, talk about unbelievable. And let's be really clear about the mountain she was climbing. It wasn't just polio. This was the 1950s in the American South. She was poor, and she was an African-American woman, facing intense racial discrimination. I mean, the deck was completely and totally stacked against her. So, how do you get from that impossible starting line to one of the greatest moments in sports history? This is where all that grit, all that determination starts to pay off on the world's biggest stage. 3. That's the number. At the 1960 Olympics in Rome, Wilma Rudolph did what everyone thought was impossible. She became the first American woman ever to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. Just let that sink in. An absolutely stunning achievement. And here's the main point, the thing we really have to get. That victory didn't just magically happen. It was forged. It was built day after day through sheer willpower and relentless training. The very same leg that doctors had completely written off became a powerful, world-beating force, all because of the effort she put in. Okay, so now the source brings it all back to that first question we asked. What does Wilma's incredible story have to do with the Christian life? Well, this is where it all clicks together. The source gives us this really cool idea, the gold medal Christian. Now, this isn't about being perfect or better than anyone else. It's about having the mindset of an elite athlete. It's about partnering with God and then actively putting in the effort, the training, to be shaped and transformed. So what's the training program look like? Well, step 1 is basically joining the team. This is the easy part, as the source puts it, just getting right with God, asking for forgiveness. But then comes the actual training. Step 2 is showing up to practice. It's letting God shape you, being coachable. And step 3? That's the daily grind, just like Wilma's. It's putting in the effort, running the race, and staying committed to the whole program, even on the days when it feels really, really tough. And this whole athlete idea isn't new. The source shows how it's actually woven all through the Bible. You see these phrases everywhere about fighting the good fights, running a race, growing, and striving towards a goal. There's even this image of being surrounded by a huge crowd of witnesses, like fans cheering in a stadium. It's all about being an active participant. So let's bring this all home. With Wilma's story and this whole athlete analogy fresh in our minds, we can finally tackle that paradox we started with. Is being a Christian easy, or is it hard? And here's the answer our source gives us. It's both. The Christian life is, at the exact same time, the easiest and the most difficult thing you will ever do. Getting on the team is a free gift, but the training, the growth, the race itself, that's going to require everything you've got. And I love this perspective. The source says to think of God less like a harsh judge and more like a loving parent or a coach. Yeah, he has high expectations for us, high hopes, but he isn't sitting there waiting to criticize us when we stumble. He's cheering on every single step we take in the right direction. And so we land right here with one final thought. The source is really encouraging us to see ourselves as athletes in training. The goal isn't to beat somebody else. It's to become a better version of ourselves, transformed by working together with God. The easy part is accepting his help. The hard part is showing up every day to do the work, which leaves us all with a pretty powerful and personal question. What race are you training for?